So next we're going to look at Visual Website Optimizer on www.vwo.com. Now it's a very similar service to Optimizely, and it's just had a major redesign to make it a lot clearer and easier to use. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are on the homepage of vwo.com. And very clear way to sign up over on the right here. You can create a free 30-day trial, which is enough to get you going and maybe enough to create a whole testing campaign. And you don't need a credit card to get going, which is always welcome. So I'll just log in with my details. So first thing we need to do is give VWO a URL. So we just renamed it. Let's start pressing the start button, and the first thing it's going to do is pull down the site like Optimizely did into the page, into the application, pull down all the images, and give us a little bit of help about how we're going to go about changing things. Okay, so what we see down the bottom here is a step-by-step guide, and we've got a little control panel which shows us the control version and the variation. So currently these are the same, and we can see which one we're on by the little cog. So let's change the variation. So if I change the text, this is very similar to Optimizely, but it's a nice little control panel, and it dims down the other content to concentrate on the element you've clicked on. So let's change the text and give it something different. Okay, and press done. Now if we click on the image, again everything else on the page dims down, and this contextual little panel lets us change the image or edit it. Edit is quite nice. It gives you literally some options to edit the image, cropping, flipping, colouring and that kind of thing, using the Aviary suite, which I think Flickr used to use. What we actually want to do now is change the image, so I will give that image B, and now our page looks like we had in Optimizely. We have a control and a variation, which is hopefully more appealing. And we can again add other variations if we want to make the test more complicated and reduce our traffic. So let's go next. Now here we have to give it a goal. So you can either tell it you're going to, as a result of this page, go to a particular page, or you can select a form submit, track a click on a particular link, or track a click on a particular element, and also some options to do with revenue. So let's click on a link. Let's just feed it that a pound sign for dollar sign for the time being. That is the link on the button. So give it a campaign name, banner test. Now here we can actually select the amount of traffic we want to go through to the test just by using a slider. So if we only want 50% of our visitors to actually be involved in an A/B test, you can just slide it appropriately. But we'll keep everybody going through to it for the time being. The heat map is quite a nice option. You can actually see what's being interacted with on the page. If we had more elements on this page, it might be quite interesting to see what else people might be clicking on if there was more than one call to action. Integrate with third-party products. You can add some interaction with Google Analytics. And the advanced options, there's some good options in there, such as target variations to different segments of your audience, like we set up in Optimizely. So let's finish that. We've got a summary over on the right of what we've done. See the URL, we can see the control and the variation and the goal. So let's click on finish. Okay, so Visual Website Optimizer is telling us that we don't have the code installed in our page yet to actually be able to track this test. So here's the code in the box below. We can copy that and we can paste that into our page. So I'm just going to edit this. Again, it needs to go in the head part of the page. It's a lot longer than Optimizely's code, you'll notice. Let's save that and upload it. Right, previously it was a bit fussy, even though the code is there. Let's press check. Yes, this is what it's done every time I've tried to use it since I've come back to this new design. Now, it keeps saying that the code isn't installed. However, I know for a fact it is, and it has been working fine. So let's click the Start Now button. And it seems to happily start the test. Okay, so it gives us a preview, and if I go to my URL, I can see the page. Gives you a nice little preview box down here, which is quite nice. If I refresh, we're going to get the same variation. So we've got the control. If I clear the cookie again, there we go. We get the variation. We'll keep getting the variation. Now, once again, I can see a bit of a flick in the content from the control to the variation, which isn't great. So I'd want to go back into Visual Website Optimizer and add the same code we used before to only show the content of the variation once the page is loaded fully. Now we do that by going back into our test, and we go to settings. There's a little pencil here which I missed for a while, and we edit the variations. Now what we have to do is actually go back to the screen where we started adding the variations, and it's hidden away under the cog. So on the variation page, we have to click on the cog and go to the add JavaScript or CSS function, so you can add either using this. So similarly to Optimizely, we now get a box of code, and we can, that window's misbehaving, and we can add in JavaScript or jQuery to achieve what we did before using a similar method, which I'm not going to do. Instead, I'm going to have a quick look at, let's go back, the reporting. The summary is quite nice. So the summary on Visual Website Optimizer shows you your test, it shows you some basic details, and it gives you a kind of this tiled approach of the number of visitors. And we can get a detailed report in here, so we'll see nice graphs of our conversion rates and visitors, and preview the test. This is where we'll be able to see a heat map of our pages, and the settings are where we just were. And that's all I'm going to cover in this little introduction lesson. There's a lot more to look at inside VWO, especially if you upgrade to a full account, and it really is a very powerful tool indeed. But you will pay for the more powerful functions. So next up, I'm going to look at a free option, which is Google Analytics and the Content Experiments settings that are now available in there. So I hope you'll join me in that lesson.